Welcome back everyone to another beautiful episode of WooCommerce with React. So I know it's been a long that I haven't continued with this series. However, today what we're going to talk about is we're going to add the support for the latest release of WP-GRAPHQL-WOOCOMMERCE. So the latest release currently is 0.3.2. And if you must have used this new version and you must have observed you get some errors. So for example, when we're trying to access the price into a query, you would get some errors. So let me show that to you. So I save this and then this should refresh. So now you can see that cannot query field price on the type product. Well, the reason for this is because they have added support for different types of products like variable product, external product, simple product, and that is available inside of the Fragment now. So if you check products and then if you check the type of the products, so if you check this product, let's say, you can see there are different types of product. One is simple, then there's grouped, external, variable. Well, group products are the ones which contain multiple products. Okay, so it was quite good that the support for these types of products are added, because if you remember when we were showing the data, we didn't really have the option to show different prices for the group products. So if I have any group product available, so if I check this one, logo collection, you can see there is a range of the price. Why? Because it is a group product. Okay, so it has got multiple products inside of it which have got different prices available, right? So it was quite important to add the support for that, so that we can display these we can calculate the price separately and show that to the user as a group product and things like that. So now we're going to fix it. So how do we fix it actually? So if you search products, here are my products, and then over here you can have different options, and then you have the nodes and then product. And if you go down, you can see that you have this variable product, external product implementations available, right? So we're going to go ahead and use this. Okay, so how do we do that? So price is no longer available inside the products directly. So in one of the previous releases, which was 0.3.0, the breaking changes was that it changed the product from object type to the interface type, and then you have these new object types available, like simple product, variable product, external, and group product. So if I had to tell you what fragments are, if you already know GraphQL, you would know this, that fragments are basically a shared piece of query logic. So in case if I want to use a piece of query at multiple places in multiple query, then rather than going ahead and rewriting the same thing over and over again, we can create a fragment like this and then just reuse that fragment. The benefit of this is that if you want to make some change, you can directly make it at one place in that fragment, rather than making it at all the places where you use that particular part of the query. Okay, so for example, we had these two pieces of data that we were wanting to fetch over here. And then instead of just writing first name and last name over here, we can create a fragment. We can name it whatever we want, but this is important. This is the type of that. So this is the type. So it's a fragment name on, and then whatever the type of that field is, and then we just use spread operator dot dot dot. So what this is going to do is just take this whole thing and put that here. So just think of this equivalent to whatever is inside of this has been added. Okay, so it's a spread operator. That's exactly what we want to do into our query as well. So the first thing we'll do is we'll try to run the query here and see what we get in the data, and then we will implement that into our code. Okay, so what we want to achieve, the first one is a simple product. So again, rather than writing like creating a fragment, I mean, you can create a fragment as well, but instead of doing that, rather than putting dot 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 here, I'm just going to use this whole thing like dot 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 on and the type, whatever type is. Okay, So I'll say dot 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 on simple product and then price, and then I need the ID as well. Okay, and similarly, so let's just run it and see what we get. So now you can see that you've got the you've got the price. So whichever simple product has, whichever is a simple product, which you will be able to get the price for that, but you won't get the price for the other ones. For that you'll have to again use spread operator and use this fragment. So on, sorry, dot 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 on. Next one is variable product. Again, we need price, we need ID. Next up, then we have external product. So I'll say on external product, and then what do we need? We need the price, and then we need the ID. Okay, last but not the least, a group product. So how am I able to get that it contains price? Well, if you actually go to simple product, and if you scroll down up until you find price, here it is. So this field is available. Okay, so coming back to group product, this one. So I'll say dot 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 on group product. Now because it's a group product, there will be multiple products available. So if you click on group product, you would see that you will have options of products. Then this one right here, because then I'll need the data for individual products, which is the price. So inside of products I will have notes. So if you go inside of this, you will get notes like this. So I'll put notes, and then again I will have simple product on that. Okay, so I'll use on simple product price, and if I run the query, sure enough you can see that I do get price for all of this now. So this has got the price over here, the name, so all of that information. Okay, and I think what we should also get is the type. So you get the type, so this way we know what type of product it is. You can see this is external, this one is grouped, and you can now see that you've got products, notes, and then prices for individual products. So there were 3 products into the lower collections. There are 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, and then it's got the price for all of them. Okay, awesome. So we've got our query ready. All we have to do is just use it, isn't it? Wouldn't that be simple? Let's try it. So I'm going to take the whole thing, just copy it. So I've got these products. I'm just going to copy this, paste it here. Oops, it's got type and all. So we can fix the indentation later, I believe. Okay. Now let's see what we get. So what do you expect? Should we get the data as we need? Let's see. Okay, why are we getting that? Let's try to get products, inspect element. We are not really getting what we are looking for. Why is this happening? Right, so we don't really have much of the information over here that tells us what the issue is exactly, right? So I'll tell you what's happening over here. So if you go on to apollo-graphql.com in the documents, and you go to fragments on unions and interfaces, you will notice that using fragments on unions and interfaces is basically an advanced feature that Apollo Boost does not support. So if you go on and check into our Apollo client, you would see that we are using Apollo Boost, right? Now this feature is not really supported. So what we need to do is we need to add the support. We just need to follow what's being said over here. So if you check, it says that Apollo client doesn't require any knowledge of GraphQL schema, which means that it's very easy to set up and works with any server and supports even the larger schema. However, as your usage of Apollo and GraphQL becomes sophisticated, like when you're using fragments on interface and unions, then you would probably need to do something else. So it explains over here that you can have this fragment and then these two as well, and it explains you about what it does and all of that stuff. I'm not going to go into the detail of that, but just to let you know that this is the main thing over here, that Apollo client's cache will use heuristic fragment matcher, which assumes that a fragment matched if the results are included, all the fields in its selection set, and didn't match when any fields was missing. Now, the reason for this is because when you go ahead and do your queries, okay, now some of the fields might not be available, okay, so at that time it will be difficult for it to match. So if you're using unions of fragments in GraphQL, by default Apollo client uses heuristic fragment matcher to map the fields, as I just explained to you. But just to let you know that Apollo client doesn't know our GraphQL schema, hence it cannot accurately map the fragments. Okay, so then that's why it could be a problem. So how do we resolve it? Well, let's see what we can do. So you can see over here that it will give you a warning. However, it doesn't give over here, but I tried to use it on a different setup and I was getting a warning about this heuristic fragment matcher error. Okay, and Apollo client will let you know that this with the console warning as it's saying over here. So I'm just going to show you, there is a blog that I found. So you get an error like this if you're using simple heuristic fragment matcher but your queries contain union or interface types. Apollo client will not be able to accurately match the fragments. Okay, and then you're supposed to use the introspection fragment matcher. Okay, so this is the error that I got when I had a slightly different setup on a different project. So then I went over here and I checked, and it says that introspect fragment matcher is the solution for working with unions and interfaces. So we're going to go ahead and use that. So you can go through it for more information. So it tells you two ways to solve this. The first one is query your server schema to obtain necessary information. However, we won't be going with that. We'll go with the second option, which is this one. Okay, so in order for us to introspect the server manually, you need to set this script to run at the build time. Okay, so what do? Just come over here inside the root of our project and just create a file called schema query.js. okay, and let's just add this entire code over here. Okay, so I've added that, and this is where you need to put your URL for your WordPress. So what I'm going to do is, we have a wooconfig.example.js, just rename it to wooconfig.js, and once you do that, so in this file you just put your site URL. This is my WordPress site URL, so I put that there, and then you need to put your GraphQL URL over here. This is so that if we want to change it later on, we can change it at one place. Now you must be wondering, we already have a client config.js, so why is it that we are creating a different configuration file? Well, the reason for this is because this file, which is the schema query.js, if you see, we have require over here, which means it's a common JS file. It is not an ES6 file, right? So for this reason, we won't be able to use import. Okay, and the client config that we are using for the similar kind of configuration can be accessed from the ES6 file, but not from the common JS file, right? So that is the reason we have created a separate one. There are different ways of not having to use two separate files as well, but probably I will teach that to you in a different tutorial. Let's just stick to it and just keep it simple for now and focus on the main thing, that to fix that issue. Okay, brilliant. So what I'm going to do is just say const, and then I'm going to require the wooconfig, and let's say require, and then I'm going to just say wooconfig.js dot. The moment you use dot and slash, it means that it's supposed to look for that path locally and not from the node module. These are going to be from node modules, but this is from the local. Okay, I'm sure you already know that. That's fine. Okay, so we need to say, just get rid of this GraphQL because our URL already has the /GraphQL. Okay, and then just say wooconfig, and then just use the GraphQL dot GraphQL. Awesome. Okay, that's all you have to do here. Now let's go and check what do we have to do next. Okay, then the next thing you need to do is basically we need to create a build script. So we need to go to package.json, come over here inside of our script, just put a comma and put build fragment and then node schema query.js. So what this is going to do is when you run npm run build fragment, what will happen is that this code right here inside of the schema query.js, it's going to go ahead and query your schema and store it inside of the fragment types .json. Okay, it will be a JSON file which will be created automatically. You don't really have to create one. And if you do change the creation path of this file, then you can remember to just update it. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. And one more thing, so that we don't have to run npm run build fragment every time you build it, why don't we just add it here? Okay, so what we can do is we can say npm run build fragment and then next build. So what this will do is that every time you run a build, it's just going to create a fresh file which will be the fragment types.json. So let me show that to you. So first, I'm not going to worry about the build stuff. I'll just go ahead with build fragment. Okay, so I'm going to stop the server. I'll say npm run build fragment. So it's going to query the schema, and you can see that fragment type successfully extracted. So now there you go. This is the file. Okay, so this is your object. Right, the next thing we need to do is that create an introspection fragment matcher by passing this file that we just created. So how do we do that? We'll just take the whole thing. You go to our Apollo client file, and remember, we no longer have to use the Apollo boost. The reason for this is because this doesn't support the use a fragment with the union and interfaces. So we'll say Apollo client. Sorry, not Apollo, but Apollo client. Okay, as you can see, this says that. Right, let's import it. Awesome. So we imported introspection fragment matcher, sorry. Okay, from Apollo cache in memory, and then we are importing the result that we're getting into a JSON file. 2 dots, I believe. Yep, there you go. Awesome. So we got that. Okay, so we used the new and created this, instantiated this object, passed the option as the data that we've got inside of this fragment types JSON object. Okay, awesome. Now, where is it? Okay, let me close all the rest of the files because we don't need them now. Okay, so we've got that so far, and then it just asks you to pass that into the in-memory cache. So that means that I'm just going to take the fragment matcher. If you see over here, it says that pass it inside of the cache. So we already have cache. It says create a new object in memory cache, instantiate this basically, and pass the fragment matcher inside of this. So let's just do that. Here you go. Okay, so I think that's about it. I think Apollo client is not installed, so we're going to install it. So we'll say npm install Apollo client. Okay, now once it's installed, we're going to run the server back again, and then we're going to go ahead and check whether we are able to get what we're looking for and if that problem is resolved. Okay, this is installed. I'll say npm run dev. Let's just wait for it. Okay, we had deleted the category one. Let me just add that back. Okay, so let's add the category back. And now check products. Let's get rid of categories. We don't want to see that right now. And there you go. Awesome. Isn't that amazing, guys? That's magic. So we'll literally solve the problem. Well, let's give a pat on our back. Awesome. Good job. Okay, got it. Now let's go back and check. What do we get here? So there you go. You have got all of the products being shown. This one right here, 17 products. And then if you check, you've got all of the information available, you have the price available, image, and all of that stuff, and that's being displayed over here, right? But now there is a problem. Well, the problem is that we now have the group product. So we have different types available, but we also have a group product. So this is my group product, and then inside of this I have products, and then we have different prices available. Now this add to cart works, but for a single product it doesn't really work for the group product. And group product is logo collection. So let's see. So in logo collection, you can see we don't have any price because there is no price field. It's actually available inside of products and all of this. So that's not a problem. We can deal with that later in the next video. That shouldn't be difficult. All we have to do is just handle it differently, and where we have a button for add to cart for this entire thing, we can have like 3 different options, wherein probably send the user to a different page and give him an option to select between these products, how many, what's the quantity of the first product he wants, what's it for the second and the third, and so on, and then calculate the total and just follow the same thing further. So we'll deal with that later. So what we can do is for now just go to the product component, and let's just add a condition over here that if product is not defined and it should not be equal to group product. Here it is. Okay, so it should not be equal to group product. And what should not be equal? It's actually product dot, we had a type name, if you remember, underscore type name. Okay, so if the type name is group product, don't just show it, and then probably we can just add a to-do over here saying that group product to be done later. Okay, awesome. But we've got that so far, and it's all set. So that's brilliant. And similarly, you can do the same for the single product page as well. You just go to product, remove price, and just copy this from the index. So get rid of the price. We don't need the price from here. Just copy this whole thing. Okay, and we'll just paste it over here. Okay, right. Okay, let's just rerun it, and hopefully now we should be able to get the single product page up and running as well. Okay, let's go to single product, click on it, and we go on to the single one. We can add to the cart. That's brilliant. It's being added. You can see over here 75, 91. You can click on view cart. You can cancel it. Awesome. Isn't that brilliant? So congratulations, we've resolved the issue. I'm going to be seeing you in the next video. We'll build it further, okay, when I get time. And I hope you did like the video. If you did, please give a thumbs up. Please do give the star to my repository, which is WooNext. And do subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And do subscribe to my channel if you aren't already. And also follow me on Twitter to support my work. My Twitter handle is imranhsayed, and I will see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.